Hey there, everybody. Purpose of this video is to get you some solutions to this three-person Woot quiz. We're playing with three people now instead of two. We played with two in class, and we were pleasantly surprised by how often we got these Woots to occur. And now we're going to play with three. We're going to see what happens. This actually came from a student's idea a couple years ago. Pretty rad, actually. So let's crack this thing open and take a look at it. First thing, just so you know, I've already run it a few, I don't know how many times. We'll take a look real quick. Yeah, about 20,000 trials, 18,000 trials. So it's been running for a while. First question was, I gotta find this thing. Here it is. What percent of the time do all three players get a match? So you don't have to keep track of that, obviously. And actually, it's kind of bizarre. Hold down button, which I can't do right now because the camera's running. It's very rare to see the red cell pop up like you would see during the two-person Woot, which means obviously that they don't happen very often. And this keeps track of it. You get it about 2% of the time versus 98% of the time not getting one, which, you know, again, should not surprise anybody. It's going to get harder and harder and harder to get them as you add more decks. Let's go back to this. How does this compare to the games we played in class? I think we just answered that. If I remember correctly, it was something like 2/3 of the time we got Woots in class. Playing it this way, it's only 1 out of 50 times. So, you know, pretty rare. I said a lot more game results, blah, 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 blah. What percent of the time did three players get exactly 1 or 2 matches? Okay, we'll walk over to that. Yeah, so here we go. About 2% of the time for 1 match, and then just, I mean, barely. I got 1/100th of 1% of the time. 1/100th of 1% of the time. So that's what I got in my results. Your results might be a little bit different depending on how many trials you ran and what happened. I didn't even bother going out 3, 4, and 5 because, I mean, they'll happen eventually, but I have you simulating these games for years until you saw it. Let's assume that 3 people play 10,000 games. Okay, assuming the percentages in 3, and how many games would they expect to get 1 or 2 matches? Okay, so using my numbers, whoops, not a Word document, using my numbers, 2.03% of the time. So that means 2.03 out of every 100 games, which would be 20.3 out of 1,000, which would be 203 out of 10,000. So out of 10,000 games that we tried, you'd get Woots in 203 of them. That's what that translates to. And even more remarkably, this is 1/100th of 1%. So this is 0.01 out of 100. Or 0.1 out of 1,000, or 1 out of 10,000. So that's very, very little. So for my results, oops, I just lost it. Where'd it go? Here we go. In my results, it's 1, for this one, it's 203 out of 10,000, and for this one, it's 1 out of 10,000. Okay, way less frequent. Yes, way less frequently. I probably should have that, way less frequently. Take a look at the where. That should be WW. I think I mistyped that. WWO, there we go. And then I asked the question, does any position seem more likely than others? Okay, so this one's an interesting question. Not probably the hardest question on the quiz. You can look at this and go, okay, so based on what we looked at in class, higher bars mean more likelihood. So you see these bars over here, card 25, and this is card 17, and this is card 49. But you got to remember something, folks. This is based on random occurrences. If I was to say that these are the most likely, that's only the most likely in the 17,000 that I did. Take a look at this. I ran this before I recorded this video and then had a different way. This is another 17, 18, 19,000. Now look at this and compare this one to the other one. I wonder if I can see them both at the same time. Let me see if I can, hang on a second. Let me try this. I'm going to try to copy it into the Excel spreadsheet. Maybe we can do it that way. Yeah, we can. So here's 2 side by side, or next to each other, I guess. The spikes are nowhere near each other. I mean, you got some here that are super high, and here they're super low. And the reason is simple. It's because there is no rhyme nor reason. I mean, not at all rhymed nor reason. You've got absolutely no predictability in where these Woots are going to happen. We saw this very quickly in the two-person Woot exam, or the two-person Woot that we did in class. If you let it run long enough, it never exactly flattened out, but it definitely did get to the point where it was looking like it was. And there's no reason to think this wouldn't do exactly the same thing, as is evidenced by this. I mean, look at this. Over here, card 5 and 6 are two of the tallest bars here, and here they're two of the lowest bars here. So, I mean, there is no, like I said, no rhyme nor reason to this. So, back to the question, do they seem pretty uniformly distributed? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And right in a sentence, a few of you did actually say, if you wait long enough, they'll level off, which is exactly what would happen. All right, I hope that helped, and we'll see you in class.